Today we're gonna go over some things in Ponytown that you can't unsee. Once you see these things, you will not be unable to unsee them anymore. Let's start with the large salad bowl. The large salad bowl over here is a unique item in itself because it's kind of neat. You don't really quite know what these ingredients are. It could be cucumbers, it could be pickles, it could be carrot slices or something. What are the orange bits after all? But the real thing that I see in this is a sad face. If you take all of the green pieces here and follow them and trace them, you actually get a frowny face, and then the onion slices there actually work as eyeballs perfectly, and you get this weird sad face that once you see it, you really can't unsee it. I have 9 more things in this video that you can't unsee once you see them, so let's go ahead and jump into the next thing, which is the spring calendar, specifically the spring calendar. And I don't know what it is about this, and it might just be a me thing, but this genuinely just looks like a screenshot from a Minecraft world somewhere, doesn't it? I mean, these are just the spruce trees that you can see in Minecraft. You have a valley here. You could even argue that these green bits here with a yellow dot right there, it could be torches on the field or something like that, but they're obviously meant to be flowers. Either way, these flowers, these trees, everything about this picture in this calendar is very doable in Minecraft and looks like it came straight out of Minecraft. And for some reason, the other calendars just don't really look that way to me. It's very strange, but it's just what I see and I can't unsee it. Moving on to something a little bit harder to see, I guess, is the lantern box and the stick barrel here. These are kind of unique because the thing that I can't unsee, it only applies when I get a crowbar and try to move it. You can already kind of see it a little bit once I hover over it, but you can actually see the lanterns inside of the box. Once I actually go to move it, you can very, very well see the lanterns that are just sitting there. It almost looks like I'm moving the box and not the lanterns with the box. It's kind of strange, and it's something that I really can't unsee once I've seen it. And this is pretty much just a lantern box thing. The other items just really don't do this. If I can find one real quick. The crystal box, for example, if I grab it with the crowbar, you can see that the crystals don't look like they're just sitting there. It looks like I've grabbed the entire thing. Although now that I'm doing this, it is kind of strange because the bottom part of the box is just very red and the rest of it isn't as red, which is kind of a weird thing. But as you can see, the crystals don't really do that, but the lanterns really do. It's almost like the box itself goes more transparent than the lanterns do or something, and it's a very strange thing, and once I've noticed it, I just can't unsee it. The stick barrel is actually kind of similar. If I grab it and move it, you can really see the sticks in there, which is interesting because if you really think about it, it's kind of unnecessary for the sticks to be physically inside of that. The same thing with the lantern box. They didn't have to have like the lanterns, the bottom half of those lanterns be drawn at all. They didn't have to have any pixels done for them at all. They could have just cut off at the top of it, but they didn't. Instead, it's the actual full item just inside of an object, which is really interesting, and I think it's kind of a cool little detail, and it really does highlight how they, I guess for some reason later on when they did things like the crystal box, they didn't do that because as you can see, the crystal box, they didn't completely fully draw the crystals inside of there. And this is pretty much the only 2 items that are like this that I've noticed, at least, because if we move on to the next thing that I can't unsee, the crowbar barrel, which basically, if you ask me, just looks like a bunch of umbrellas sitting inside of a barrel. I mean, that's genuinely what I see every single time I see this. But just to prove my fact even more about the lantern box and the stick barrel, when I grab this and move it, you can see that the crowbars aren't fully drawn. The bottom half of the crowbars just get cut off. It's not crowbars inside of a thing, it's just the top half of crowbars inside of a thing, which is really interesting. But this specific thing just looks like a bunch of umbrellas sitting inside of a barrel, and I really genuinely cannot unsee that. Now let's move on to something that you might struggle to see at first, but once you see it, it's gonna be a little hard to unsee, and that is the hay ghost here. If you take a look at its ears up here, it is very similar to their own hands. Their hands look very similar to their ears, and that's kind of an interesting thing. Obviously, I'm pretty sure at least it's unintentional, but it kind of just looks like to me now that they have hands on top of their head, or perhaps they have have ears coming out of their arms or something. It's kind of interesting and funny and goofy and everything like that. But when we really get into the tent right here, there are a lot of things inside of this tent that once you see it, you can't unsee. So starting off, let's go inside the tent itself, the item itself, the tent. If you look at the back wall of the tent, you can see a lot of these symbols here, or really not symbols, but details, and it really just looks like a couple of people were trying to play tic-tac-toe inside of the tent, but they never actually quite started a game or something like that, or maybe they finished a game and then started another one and started another one, because it really just looks like a bunch of tic-tac-toe games going on inside of here, and I don't know why my brain immediately goes to tic-tac-toe. Maybe it's because I just love games and I do too many gaming related things, but it genuinely kind of just looks like tic-tac-toe to me. Next up, we have this picture right here, this photo here. This has bothered me forever, and I genuinely don't know what it's trying to depict. So if you guys know what this picture is trying to depict, let me know in the comments below. But there's a couple of things about this that I really can't unsee. First of all, it looks kind of weird. The frame looks like it's just broken. It looks like a genuinely broken frame. The frame itself just looks so broken, it's crazy. I don't know why it looks like that. I guess because they're trying to make it at an angle or something like that, and so they had to move the pixels that way because it's the only way to depict that. But I guess because of how small it is, in addition to that, it just looks like the picture frame is broken, or it's made out of a bunch of pieces that aren't quite the right size and shape. It looks very weird. But specifically, the picture depicted in that photo, in that frame, is kind of, and it's gonna sound weird, but it kind of just looks like a black and white picture of a sailor standing out near the ocean. I don't know why I see this, but for some reason I can see kind of like the hat almost, or like hair, and I can see like the gray bit right here at the bottom kind of looks like where their hands are, where they're holding their hands together, and then the gray parts is their like big water coat or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks like a person more than it does a pony, and if it's not a pony or a person, what is it trying to depict here? Is it meant to be some kind of house on a hill, a lighthouse perhaps on a hill or something like that? I genuinely could not tell you what this is trying to depict, and I don't know if anyone else could either, but every time I look at this, I see like a human person holding their hands together and posing for a picture, and they either have some hair there, or it's like a weird hat, and they're standing in like the rain or something like that near the beach or something. That's really what I see when I see this. Next up is the Skella mushrooms. Let me know if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but every time I see this mushroom, it just genuinely looks like a pair of lips to me. I think I might have mentioned this before in other videos, but if you take a really close look at this, it just kind of looks like a pair of lips, does it not? I don't think you can prove me wrong on that one. It just looks like a pair of lips, and I will not take any other thing for an answer. Finally, well, not finally, but next up is the potatoes. Now, here is a fun little fact about Ponytown. If I go and open up a new tab for Ponytown, and then I go to, let's say, the About page or something like that, and scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a pony face right here at the bottom of the page. There are pony faces in other items and things like that as well, such as the sign item. It has a pony face in it, and it's very obvious and very apparent, but there are other items too that possibly have pony faces in them too that have yet to be discovered, because if you look at the potatoes, they genuinely look like they're trying to do that same pony face, but on a potato for some strange reason. You can see the muzzle here, and then the two eyes. Here's another angle of it, the muzzle, and then the two eyes, the muzzle, and then the two eyes. It's really weird, and once I saw this about the potato, I genuinely cannot unsee it. It looks like it's trying to have a pony face like how they depicted in other things before. And speaking of pony faces, the last thing that I want to mention here is the paper. As you can see on the paper itself, there is kind of, again, that pony face shape. You can see an eye there, and then this little L shape right here to be the muzzle. This is very similar to the pony faces that they've made and depicted in other places and stuff like that before. It really genuinely looks like a pony face, but when I pick it up, you can see that pony face again on the actual paper itself. Again, an eyeball, and then a muzzle here as well. It's very strange, but I think they're hiding this pony face in more places than we realize. If not, this is a very strange coincidence, because genuinely, especially with the potato, it looks like that's what they did. It looks like they did it on purpose, because there's no reason for some of these pixels to be here, or at least it doesn't seem like there's much reason for some of these pixels to be here. So it really looks like they might have just carved a face onto the potatoes for some reason. And that's a really strange thing. And once I've seen that, I just genuinely cannot unsee it. Let me know in the comments below if you could see any of the things that I can see, or if I'm just crazy. Maybe I am just crazy. Let me know in the comments below. But before I do sign off, I do want to mention one more thing, and that is this lantern right here. That lantern is called Large Iron Lantern 2 Unlit. And the lantern here to my left is called Large Iron Lantern 1 Unlit. It is very interesting. It looks quite nice. It looks like it's a lantern with a candle inside of it, but the one on the right just doesn't look like a lantern with a candle inside. It looks really bad in my opinion. This is kind of just more of an honorable mention, but once I was going through the items to make this video, I saw this lantern and I was like, why the hell does it look like that when the other lantern looks like an actual thing that has a candle in it? The only thing I can think of is that they're trying to depict 3 candles inside of it, or maybe the same candle from multiple angles or something like that. I genuinely don't understand what they're trying to depict on the inside of this lantern, but it genuinely looks kind of bad in my opinion. But let me know in the comments below as well what you think of that. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.